Hey you guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Trey, and let's talk about Black Sands Entertainment because Black Sands Entertainment is a black publishing comic book company, and I think that's great. We got more people skin in the game, and after Eric July tossed his hat in the game, you was like, "Oh yeah, now we got more people." And me being a black person, it's kind of saddening to see that two successful black companies are well two black companies that are doing public comic books. One of them is upset that the other one is doing better because reasons. And I just find that so disheartening, because it's just like, well, okay, you got your start because you were on. I mean, you and your wife, you decided to come and do this comic book. You got people involved, and then you went on Shark Tank. You raised $500,000 for it, with Kevin Hart and Mark Cuban, and created your company. And yes, they said that you guys are the number one black owned comic book company. Well, not anymore, thanks to Eric July, but it's just kind of sad and disheartening to see how that instead of celebrating this success, this history making, because it is history, whether you want to or not. We are over here hating on folks, and now we got people like, because Eric July, he made a video about it, and I have some of the Black Sands comic books or whatever and stuff like that, but it's just disheartening as a person who read some of the books, I which you got this story from this black artist. I mean, not this black artist, but this black writer, black creators, and to see them upset that another black man is doing something similar to what he was doing is just you know and a lot of you guys are like, oh my god, what's happening? So apparently, Manuel Godley, the owner, well, not owner, but I guess CEO of Black Sands Entertainment, I guess he got mad that Eric July was I guess being successful, pretty much. That's really what I got for you. He was upset that Eric July was successful, and that led him to going back and trying to like go and find, like, apparently all of some stuff back in the back to try to discredit Eric's success or something like that, which is kind of weird if you ask me. I don't understand how, it's harmful, and by no means I don't agree with everything that Eric is saying or anything, but it's basically what he said is, if I see anyone following, retweet, or liking this clown's content, it will result in a block. We do not want to see his content. We are a company who wants to tell black stories, and as they stand in reality, we are not interested in comic books. So, you got another black man calling another black man Uncle Tom or whatever and stuff like that. But we're supposed to be supporting each other, right? They always, it's people like him, Manuel Godley, who always want to tell people that they need to support black people, they need to support black owned business and black owned entertainment or whatever. And then you have a black guy who's doing his own thing. Just because he didn't go around the ways that you went around, it still doesn't mean it wasn't a success. Every company starts some kind of way. Sometimes quick, they're a quick success. Sometimes it's long success. Just like from what I researched, it took 6 to 5 years for you to be a profit of 2 million of your own. Yes, your company is marketed at 10 million after you have what I think you have 5,000 investors, and then 30% of the company earning goes to Mark Cuban, and I think 10% go to Kevin Hart, something like that, because they were on Shark Tank. So, okay, you had help, you had funding help, while Eric July took the money that he had, that he grew from, his band, being in the entertainment business for a long time, doing his YouTube commentary stuff. He took all that money and earnings that he got, and then he decided to invest it into a company. He took $20,000 of his own money and created a company. Got a warehouse, got the system set up, hired some people to do work or whatever for him, and he actually has a company that's 100% fully owned by him without the help of any investors. So what's the matter? What's the problem? He decided to do that. I don't understand why we're upset that this guy is sitting up here like, I don't understand why you're upset that he's supposed to, not do anything, not be successful or whatever. It doesn't really matter about his political gains, because he posted a picture of him taking a picture with Kyle Rittenhouse, and he was like, "Oh, he's a monster, he's a murderer or whatever." Which, hey, I don't really care. That's not my thing. I didn't really care about the Kyle Rittenhouse thing, so nobody asked me about it. Don't care. Not interested in it. But I know Eric July do contribute to other channels and other media outlets, and they ask his opinion. And Kyle was on the show, and Kyle wanted to take a picture with him, and Young Ripper took a picture with him. It's the same thing if I was like, for instance, if I was a celebrity or whatever, or if I was a journalist, even if I don't agree with Donald Trump's political views, or let's say Biden or Kyle or whoever, something like that. But when they come on the show, of course, got to take a picture, because I have to, they ask for a picture with me. I'm going to take a picture with them. You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, that's my job. I have to promote myself and have to do stuff like that. Hey, tune in to so and so, where I discuss my opinions with, you know, Kyle Rittenhouse. That doesn't mean that I agree with what he was doing or I support Kyle Rittenhouse. It's just, hey, we were there. That was my job. I took a picture with him. But anyway, what does that have to do with his comic book company? You know what I'm saying? Oh, so what? We're upset that people pre-ordered his comic book, right? And he got over $2.3 million. Okay, and everybody, you did the same thing too. You went, you got some investors, you created a comic book, and it did well. So why is it because he decided to do it another way, and because it generated more success than, Black Sands Entertainment, now it's a problem? Now you got to bash him? Don't bash him. And then another thing too, stop talking about, that's the problem. See, because when we look at around here and we talk about it, okay, so here's what they said. Manuel and Jesus Eds are authors for many award-winning books, catering to African American families. Their commitment to education and entertainment, giving them extreme growth in the modern pop culture industry's achievement, include partnering with Mark Cuban and Kevin Hart, appear on multiple national outlets, 2 million plus revenue to date. Top 1% of Patreon community, 2 million raised in capital, 14 titles published under the brand. Needless to say, that we have built up a major list of accomplishments in a very short period. Um, that's great. That's great. But why are you upset that Eric is doing the thing? You say you don't want him to work because he's working with, white people or racists or Uncle Toms or whatever, or coons or whatever. That's what you're saying. But you're working with Mark Cuban, and you have other investors that are not black. And then you're talking about we hire and we work with black people. Okay, great. That's good. But at the same time, I keep trying to tell people, comic books is mainly a white person game. Sorry you don't like it, but most white people read comics. It is what it is. And I'm not saying that the characters can't be black, but your target audience is black, which, okay, remember, that's not that much in the United States. You know what I'm saying? So if you're going to do comic books, if you're going to do stuff that people need to read, you might want to make it where its target audience is for anybody who likes comic books. Don't keep running, and that's another thing. I already told you about that in my previous video, and in my other video about black creators. Y'all keep focusing on the fact that these comic book characters or creations that you make are black. Stop it. Stop it. You cannot keep constantly talking about, oh look, these characters are black and stuff like that. See, look how many black people we got. That's amazing. We're doing things with black folks and stuff like that. Okay, great. But how is that going to help more people get into comic books? You know what I'm saying? Okay, you want more black people to get into comic books, but it has to be something natural. And again, sad to say, a lot of black people do not care for comic books. Y'all can get mad all you want to. It's the truth. It's the same thing with LGBT. It's the same thing with females. It's the same thing with Asians. It's the same thing with Latinos. A lot of them just do not care about comic books like that. I understand it sucks, but it's the reality of the fact. And there's nothing wrong with that. Understand who your audience is. What I'm more impressed about is that you're a black person that was able to create comic books that of all ages. Because Dwayne McDuffie, when he created those characters, yes, he wanted to create original black characters, but it wasn't because he wanted to target black people. He wanted to create black characters because he noticed that there wasn't enough black original characters. And he decided, I'm gonna come up with black characters that can be in the world of superheroes, that it can inspire anyone of any age, race, or ethnicity. And he changed history with it. You know, was it 100% perfect? No, it wasn't. But what he didn't do is rag on, I got these black characters. When Dwayne McDuffie talks about his characters, he talks about them as characters. He doesn't constantly remind us of, well, they're African American. Okay, great. Did I meant to tell you that they're African American and all my artists are African American? Even there are people who weren't black that worked for Dwayne McDuffie and said that it was thanks to Dwayne McDuffie that they were able to put their foot in the water of comics. And with that, it helped them grow, it helped them change and continue their work. So let's not keep focusing on the fact that, oh God, here's a black man, because right now what it makes you seem like, you're jealous that this black man came out of nowhere, and I guess if you want to say line skipped, and you're saying, well, he used his audience to sell his books. Okay, and I mean, don't you rely on your audience? Don't you rely on, hold on, let me scroll back down here. Don't you rely on your partner, Mark Cuban, Kevin Hart, Patreon as well? Those are people that those people are part of your audience that you got. Those were your audience. You had Mark Cuban, you had Kevin Hart say yes, and then you have Patreon people that pledges things to you. So you're using your audience to get yourself out there. You're using people and connections to get there. So what? Eric July did the same thing. So he talked about political views. But he also talked about comic books. Again, don't agree with everything he said. Sometimes some of his top takes are not my cup of tea. But he's just doing what you're doing too. Would it be better if Eric had crawled onto Shark Tank and did the same thing you did? Then it would make more sense. No, he decided that he wanted to have 100% of his company. Ain't nothing wrong with that. What's wrong with a black man wanting to go out and own 100% of his work or whatever? Because what will happen if these, like for instance, if Mark Cuban and Kevin Hart don't like some of the directions that these characters are going, they can easily tell you to change them, and you can't say no, because they own percentages of your company. They invested in your company, which means that if they say no, if they said change it, you have to say, yes, I will change it, because they are the ones funding the bill for a lot of stuff. You didn't think about that when you say yes, you know? And if you think giving 30% of your company away to somebody is a great thing, by far, go ahead. But understand that everybody is different. Everybody is different, and everybody gets their start some kind of way. But to go on here and start hating on Eric July because reasons, it just makes absolutely no sense, and it is actually head scratching when you kind of think about it. Honestly, like, really, we're really sitting up here doing this right now because you don't agree with how everything went about. Well, who cares if you don't agree? That's not your business to agree. Your business is to is to uplift one another, because y'all could have did a cool collaboration. You know, I feel like there's a few black owned content creators, especially that do comic books, that y'all could team up and work together and expand y'all thing. But like I said, y'all gotta stop. You gotta stop putting down another black person. So what? Eric did something different. So what? You don't agree with his politics. You do realize that when you work in business, everybody is not going to be having the same views, and not every time we talk about business, we're all going to agree with everything. That's how business work. But to sit up there and rag on the man because you're mad that he did something it took you some years to do is not right, honestly, to me. I just think it's kind of weird that you're sitting up here like, oh yeah. Oh, because so Fox News had posted about him, and he basically said the Fox News article is exactly what I expected: a political movement and a radical right fan base who despises black representation unless they can dictate how it's done. Notice the flood of racist bigot on my page. Point proven. You are who you based in. Like, really? And then look, he keeps doing this where he keeps talking about, oh look, today's episode goes nuts, where we talk about how I was on Shark Tank. Like, come on now. Why are we upset, about this character doing this stuff? Because remember, you got 14 books, and it took you 5 years to get 2 million of a profit, while Eric only released one book and got 2 million profit. You get what I'm saying? You see how, yeah, less hating and less and more working to get this stuff out there. Are you doing YouTube channels, and are the YouTube channels that you're going on, are they the ones that are like literally saying, hey, this book is awesome or whatever? Or are you going on channels that nobody's really watching or anything? Yes, you might have a podcast. You get what I'm saying? And another thing is, I always tell people is, especially when it comes to black content creators in general, you have to start interacting and you have to create a community, and you can't focus on being black. You cannot focus on that. We just have to work a little bit twice as hard, but that's anywhere, you know what I'm saying? But if you made 14 books and you only got a and you made up to $2 million in capital, and the company is worth 10 million because of the investments that Kevin Hart and Mark Cuban, are you really doing it by yourself? You get what I'm saying? Is that really more incredible than what Eric is doing? Eric is just doing it by himself, but he already made the money that it took you to make by teaming up and partnering with people. So again, instead of this, you should be like congratulating him and be like, wow, this is amazing. It's good to see another black man put his money where his mouth is, and creating another alternative for black people to read books or something like that. You know what I'm saying? But to keep focusing on the fact that the person is black, and then to keep talking about, oh, our characters are black, and then be like, oh, we're the number one black owned publishing house, and we were on Shark Tank and Forbes and CBR and LL Times and Publish Weekly and more. Okay, great. And what does that have to do with your work? Because I doubt people right now that I'm talking to, I doubt that anybody right now is literally hearing what I'm saying, and they're like, Black Sands Entertainment, what's that? I don't think anybody knows that. And look, I mean, these characters are drawn very nicely or whatever, because see, look, Black Sands Entertainment believe our African history achievement should be celebrated instead of typical narrative being pushed for the last 50 years. And it's just like, what typical narrative are you talking about? Because there have been stories for black people told in a positive way or whatever, in the media entertainment. But again, nobody likes to go out and look for it. Nobody actually goes out and actually reads it. It's just like, for me, I grew up in the 90s. So there was so much positive black stuff on TV. Yeah, it might have not been superheroes or fantasy worlds, but who cares? Everything else, like, you had action movies that had starred black people, you had dramas that starred black people, you had cartoons that starred black people too. So it's just because just because it wasn't every other cartoon or every other show or every other movie, doesn't mean it wasn't there. So again, what are we saying? You get what I'm saying? And I think that's another thing that turns off people from black content creators, is that they focus on being black and we're trying to get more black people into this stuff or whatever, and if and you need to be an ally to black people or whatever and stuff like that, and our target audience is black. No, if I'm making a comic book or if I'm making a story, I want anybody to read. I want all y'all to read that right now. That means if I did like a, let's say I decided right now to draw like a 10-page little mini story of my OC saving the day or something like that. I want you to read it because I just think it might be cool for you to read it. I don't care that I'm black, and I honestly don't care what race, gender, creed, whatever. You can be a damn alien from another planet. As long as you read it and you enjoyed it, who cares? Who cares? And if it's horrible, let me know. You know what I'm saying? Something like that. I don't care. I'm not going to sit up here and promote myself. Like, you'll never see me be like, hey, I'm Trey and I'm black and I'm proud, and this is my channel and this is my book, my drawings or whatever. You guys need to support me because I'm black. No, I'm not going to say any of that because that's stupid. I just want you to support me. At the end of the day, that's what I would like for people to do, is just support. Whether it's donation, whether it's views, whether it's dislike views, whether it's a following on Instagram, whether it's following on Twitter, or any kind of effort I do, I would just want you to follow me, because I don't, and honestly, I don't care if you like Biden or Trump or any of that stuff, because who cares? Who the hell cares? you know I don't care. As long as you like good stories, and don't be belligerent in the comments. Who cares? You know what I'm saying? Like, let's go. But I'm not going to sit there and focus on that. And let's see what else they're talking about down here. It says legends celebrate, whether it's Egypt or South Africa, Black Sans only publish titles that empower the community of youth. All comic book titles are age appropriate for teens. And then it says proven track record, hundreds of thousands of copies sold, millions raised, and a 5-year history of stellar performance, chosen the right business to patent. Featured bundles is a full set, which is on sale, where you get the entire set. There is the Black Ultimate History, the Flame Limited Edition series, the New Legends, and it says here's the title. There's a Black Sand animation DVD. Oh, cool. Why is it not in stores? If that's the case, the first Pharaoh, Black Sands Ultimate hardcover. There's Black Sands Ultimate. There's Black Sands 10, Black Sands 9, 8 legendary comic books. So Anika Nasoka of the Saga, Lions Game, Master Nails, Madagascar, Mask of Ocean. Like, see, look at this stuff. This stuff, Cosmic Girl, Zoma, the Lost Children, Between Magic and Dreams. And no offense, this stuff would be nice if it was like sold, promoted a little bit more, because honestly, the only reason why I know about the Black Sand stuff is because I was at Dragon Con and I brought some of the books. Other than that, I didn't know much about Black Sands or whatever, because I don't see much promotion being brought to my attention. I don't really see that on YouTube or Twitter or Facebook or any of that kind of stuff. And that's the problem. Eric, make sure that he's out there, where you can see him. You gotta start doing something. You gotta start interacting with people a little bit more, maybe, and stop getting offended when people say things that you don't agree with, because that's the problem. A lot of times people are getting upset that people don't agree with people's political views or whatever, and then you want to be like, oh well, fuck you, I don't need you, blah 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 blah. No, don't say that. And then it says absolutely the owners are frequently on social media, present their products. We have thousands of investors from the Black community. See that, thousands of investors in 5 years in order to capitalize 2 million. Like, Jesus Christ. um and it was just talking about, here's the video that in the newsletter, and that's what it says 200,000 copies sold, 2 million raised, dozens of titles, 5,000 investors. Wow, 5,000 investors, and you only had a minimum of two, and you just not getting 2 million in capital. Holy shit, that is something. But everybody has their own start. of course. But what I'm saying is maybe now a little bit more less hatred and a little bit more collaborating, because there are some other ones. I think good Godhood Hood Comics, I believe. They have a few ones. The Chronic Universe. That's another. Those are two other black owned comic book series. I have a few books from them, but I'm waiting until I save up some more money to buy the other books so I can give it a proper review, because I don't have that much where I can give you guys a good review, because the books that I did get, they're pretty good, but I need to read the rest of it first before I give my thoughts about it. But it's just kind of crazy that we're hating on that people are hating on Eric July for doing great in this. I'm just disappointed that, of course, that's kind of how the black community rolls anyway. That one black man get up on it, we about to hate on everybody, which is a understandable thing. But it's just kind of like, if we're supposed to be at the point where we're supposed to be building and uplifting other black people, well, maybe how do you know that Eric didn't was inspired by Black Sands? Maybe he had watched the show or Shark Tank, and maybe subconsciously, you know, was like, man, wow, I should be able to do something like that. If he can do it, I can do it, but I'm gonna just do it my own way. You know what I'm saying? You never thought about that. You probably could have been an inspiration for him or whatever. You just don't think. You guys got to kind of think about that kind of stuff. Don't belittle and hate him for doing something that you're doing. He just went around it. He just went about it a different way. Who cares? And and if you really want to throw some bragging rights at it, let's see when the books come, and if the book is not well received, if the book is reviewed terribly, if it flops, so where Eric holds a issue number 2 of Isom, or a issue of whatever other character he might be, and if it doesn't do well, then you'll know that, hey, hey, we did it the right way and Eric didn't. That's how you do that kind of stuff. Just don't talk about it out loud if that's the case. That's all I'm saying. But that's all I'm saying with the whole situation. You don't have to like him. You don't have to agree with everything, but respect the grind that he's done, because he's doing the same thing that you're doing. And that's how I feel about the situation. But those are my thoughts. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys later.